I don't believe it, muttered Gordon furiously. What's Thomas got that an important engine like me hasn't? Tell me that. Gallivanting off to museums. Bah! He is old, said James. If the Fat Controller says he can be a museum piece, why should we worry? It's not fair though, grumbled Henry. For a chance like this, I wouldn't mind buying a museum piece myself. The Yellow's engines all ignored Thomas when they saw him at the junction. Thomas didn't care. He was excited. Why me? Thomas asked Percy and Toby. Fancy the National Railway Museum people at, where is it? York? Wanting me to go there. They have never seen me.
Yes, they have,
said Percy.
Well, they have seen you on the telly,
added Toby.
The Fat Controller told us all about it.
He and Percy wanted to go with Thomas, but they knew that someone had to stay and run the branch line while he was away. How much longer until we go? Asked Thomas's driver every morning. One day less than the last time you asked, laughed the driver. Anyone would think that you wanted to be a museum piece. Thomas grinned. Gordon, Henry and James are just jealous, he chuckled. Who else will be at the museum? Is Flying Scotsman there? Or Doc's friend, the city of Truro? We shall wait and see, said the fireman. I'll be surprised if there isn't someone there you can't remember from your old days. And of course, this made Thomas more excited than ever. At last the day came. A large crowd came to the junction to see Thomas off. Goodbye, Thomas, said the Fat Controller.
Enjoy yourself and be a credit to our railway.
Everyone gave Thomas 3 cheers and he set off. They ran across the island and over the bridge leading to the other railway. It was a slow journey, but at least they reached a place that Thomas's driver called Carnforth, where they rested for the night in a big shed. The next day they went on. At Skipton, Thomas stopped for a drink.
and to let the goods train overtake him. While they waited, it began to rain. In a signal box a little way ahead, the signalman had opened his level crossing gates for Thomas and set his signal to clear. Suddenly he heard a crack and then a rattle from the level crossing. The lock on the gate had broken, and the wind was swinging the gate across the rails. Steam peered above the trees. As Thomas drew near, "Whoa!" exclaimed the signalman, and quickly reset the signal to danger and ran to mend the gates. Thomas had never felt happier. His fire was bright, and even the rain didn't depress him. They neared the signal. Its arm was up, showing that the line ahead was clear. "Away we go! Shh, shh, shh! Away we go! Shh, shh, shh!" puffed Thomas happily. He was just passing the signal when he heard a clank as the signal arm fell to danger. "Oh!" Thomas cried the driver, and put the brakes on hard. "What?" Thomas began, but then he saw just ahead a level crossing gate swinging towards him across the line. The signalman tried to stop it, but the gate was wet and slipped out of his hand. "Oh!" groaned Thomas, and skidded along the rails. "Help! I must stop!" But the rain had made the rails slippy, and he couldn't. He slithered helplessly along and was still moving when he reached the level crossing. With a loud quack, the gate broke against the buffer beam. "Ouch!" said Thomas, and stopped. The signalman ran to his telephone and then directed Thomas into a sighting where an inspector looked over him. His buffer beam was bent, and one of his buffers were broken. "You can't go on like this, not on the railway anyhow." "But I'm supposed to be in York tomorrow," wailed Thomas. "I know that," said the inspector. "Never mind, leave it to me. I'll see what can be done." And with that, Thomas had to be content.